Many of you probably see this bottle of pills as a bad omen. It indicates sickness or problems. Not me. This bottle of pills is my future, and I couldn't be more excited. My name is Allison Arterbury, and I hope that one day I am your pharmacist. Right now, I'm still a good way away from that goal, but I'm working hard to get there. I'm a nutrition student at the University of Arizona and will begin my applications for pharmacy school this fall. In preparing for these applications, I've had to think long and hard about the seemingly easy but most important question I know I will be asked over and over. Why do you, Allison, want to be a pharmacist? I have set myself on a journey of self-discovery to come up with the most thorough and truthful answer to this question. I delved deep into my past to try and remember when I decided I wanted to take the pharmacy path in my life. I grew up in a small Arizona town in a modest house in the middle of the woods. And as far as I can remember, science was far from my mind for a long time. Like most kids, I remember wanting to be a million different things. A princess, a veterinarian, a teacher, even a soccer player. The latter seemed the most appealing to me for the longest time, because playing soccer is what I spent most of my time doing. But as I grew older, it became obvious that professional athlete was not the most realistic aspiration. Thinking back on my younger years, the only thing constant I can remember is always looking up to my mom and my grandma. My grandma especially had a big influence on me. For some reason, I always related to her and saw more of myself in her than any other family member. Once I realized that I wasn't a prodigy that had clear direction in life from the moment I could walk, I tried to remember when I first knew I liked science. I've always enjoyed school. It's something that comes naturally to me. When I was younger, though, I was much more of a creative type. I loved poetry and writing stories. I spent my time on creative writing websites and entering writing contests. This was almost polar opposite of the person I am today. So when did the switch occur? Maybe it was the day I got to dissect a worm for the first time and I got my biggest crush as my lab partner. Or maybe it was the day my 8th grade teacher made what I found to be the funniest joke of all time about the periodic table. Whatever it was, middle school transformed me into a completely new person, and I was left brain dominated from then on out. Looking back on high school, I was not thinking very much about my life in the future. I had a good time and was very busy with soccer and friends. I had a general idea of what I wanted to do, but nothing definitive. At this point in my search for an answer, I am getting very frustrated that I have no miraculous moment that I knew I needed to be a pharmacist. For a while, I decided not to let it get to me and just hope something came to me before the application process began. Recently, however, I have become more determined to figure out why, as the deadline for applications draws near. I read through a memory book I made my senior year of high school. It recounted many things in my life that I had forgotten about. There were tons of stories about my grandma in there. She recently passed away, and it was great to remember all these wonderful times. As I sat there thinking about her, it hit me. My grandma. She is the reason I am going to pharmacy school. When I was 17, my grandma had a stroke. It wasn't a really bad one, but they medicated her heavily to try and prevent another. We were all relieved that she was okay and hoped the medicines would help her get back to normal. As the weeks progressed, however, all of us saw a dramatic change in her personality. She was not herself at all. You couldn't talk to her without her breaking down and sobbing. This was not the grandma I had idolized for so long. After a few months of this dementia, a doctor finally figured out that the bad combinations of her diabetes medications and all the new medications she was on had created a bad interaction, causing her psychological symptoms. The answer was simple: change her medications. They did just that, and we had Grandma back. She was totally normal again. I remember thinking, why didn't they know this before they gave her the drugs? Why didn't they catch it earlier? They took my grandma from me for months because they missed this interaction. I could not understand why no one took the time to review all her medications. I looked into it and I realized that a clinical pharmacist should have been on the case. After reading about this, something inside me clicked. This is what I want to do. From then on, I knew I wanted a career in pharmaceuticals to help prevent this happening to other families. My grandma played a large role in raising me, as she was always around during busy times for my parents. She shaped much of my young life. Even now that she is gone, she is continuing to be a part of my future. If there is one thing you should know about me, it is that I am my grandmother's granddaughter, through and through.